Bit of an update. Bit of an update with the Manta Ray. I've done a season, you probably call it a season worth of vintage with this Manta Ray. Woohoo! Still in great shape. A little bit of dirt there. Managed to keep it right side up most of the time. Some pretty good results, some pretty impressive results. I'll roll in a little bit of footage that we managed to get of it in some vintage racing. Keep in mind this is racing in the pre-96 class. A lot of fast cars in the pre-96 class, and I'll actually put a bit of a list of the typical field that we encounter in that pre-96 four-wheel drive class, and it is a very competitive field. Great thing about the vintage class, this type of racing is though, look at these tyres here. I've only ever really raced these in the vintage class, but these are like probably 5 seasons old. I raced these in a top force in the nationals. I raced these like 5 years ago in the nationals. And look at them, still mint, Goosebump. J Concepts Goosebump, pretty well known tyre. Good on dirt surfaces, loose sort of dirt. But look, they're not even, they've still got some, you can see that. They've still got good tread there. Still perfectly usable with the mighty silver can 27 turn. Plenty of tread. Not going to get burned off there with all that power. But yeah, this has been a great buggy. I'm actually just going to take it apart. Despite doing well with it, I've had a few issues just in the last 2 races I did with I heard a clicking, and I think that clicking that I hear will be one or 2 things. It'll be the I would say it'll be one of the counter gears on top of the gearbox. So that's the gears that engage with the spur, and then the top of the diff there. So the 2 counter gears that sit in line there, we'll take them out and investigate that. I know that gearbox cover has a tendency to lift under pressure, and what happens is it can cause those gears to skip, but that usually only happens when you overpower it with a brushless system. There's all kinds of braces you can put on the top gearbox cover aftermarket to sort of hold it all down and together, but usually you'll have no issue if you just stay within some reasonable power limits. And we've got the slowest motor possible, apart from like a 380 in here, 27 turn booch, hitting it with the booch. 27 turn booch shouldn't be making any idler gears or counter gears. It shouldn't be making them skip. It's crazy. So we'll investigate that and find out. I've been running the little wire drive shaft the whole time. It seems absolutely fine. High torque servo saver is the only mod I did. I haven't changed this at all. Sort of, you know, the suspension's got more sort of supple. I can see that one, this shock here is CV starting to undo and it's leaking a little bit, so I'll have to fix that. So the top cap's come undone a little bit, it's leaking down the shock shaft, so a little bit of maintenance required there, leaking some oil out. But it's been a great kit, can't fault it. And the tracks I've been racing on are super bumpy, or they get cut out by the end of the second day. They can get quite cut out, and so you know, you need a buggy with lots of cool bar jar style travel. Keep all those wheels on tires on the ground for the traction and the acceleration and the braking. That's where I did find it often had an advantage over other retro kits that I was racing against. This is so soft that it managed to just keep keep the tires on the ground at all times, which is really, really important. You can't brake, you can't accelerate, you can't turn if you don't have the tires on the ground and with good traction. So if the suspension's too stiff and it's sort of bouncing a little bit and you're skipping all over the track and it's hard to control, could be because the suspension is not soft enough. You're going to mess with your rates. Generally speaking, you need buggy kits are oversprung and under dampened. This kit here is good if you tune it up. It's a perfect amount of droop. You get to look at that beautiful droop. Fantastic. Good on a low grip surface, which is the tracks I was running on, pretty low grip. And if they weren't low grip, there was a lot of undulation. So it's an excellent kit. But I managed to do pretty well. So what did we do? I think I podiumed every race. I think probably every race I managed to podium. I won a couple against some real stiff competition, some great racing. And the percentages, looking at the numbers of the percentages throughout the racing, it was often above 95% consistency. So managing to keep it together and put in some real good laps and run the car pretty much flat out the whole time. And if I did that, I would get a good result, usually a podium finish or maybe even a win. So really punching above its weight, considering what I paid for the kit and the fact that it's pretty much stock. Got a great quality servo, pretty high speed servo in there, highest LP. But I think I put what that was in the build video, but still got the wire steering, the wire linkage, didn't change any of that, perfectly adequate. There's no more slop than there usually is in anything else, totally fine. I was just running Dean's connector, and sometimes in the qualifying I just run a nickel metal hydride, but usually just a lipo, 4000 milliamp Gens Ace thing, classic pack, fits in there, no problem at all. Yeah, what a cool kit. I'll roll in some footage and some of the results that we got. Here's one of the trophies we got, G27 there. That's the first place at one of those rounds. This was a joint club series, so it was from a bunch of clubs around the country, and I entered one of the rounds that was held at I think that's when it was at Mania Raceway. Anyway, did well at that one, and also did well at the one at Raukawa Raceway too. That was neat. Great bunch of people and great racing there, and the Manta Ray really proving that it can put in some good laps if you can keep it together. Anyway, I'll roll in some footage. I'm going to take this apart now and see what the damage is after a season of racing, and get ready for the next event. I've had a lot of Manta Rays and top forces, and I've never seen this particular thing happen, although I really raced this hard. And as I've said before, the gearing on this, I actually ended up running the highest gearing. So I've cooked, in that season, I've cooked 2 motors in that season. So I'm just going to clean out this counter gear so you can sort of see it a bit better. But I think we can probably see it as is. If we can't capture it on the video, what I'll do is I'll take a picture and I'll roll in the still, and we can see, you'll be able to see what's happened to this spur gear. I don't really know why it's happened, but I think just a lot of racing, over geared, a lot of jumps, just driving flat out. And I really had to drive this Manta Ray. I had to drive the pants off it in order to keep up with some of these other kits. Because, you know, as I said before in the build video, pre-96, it's a pre-96, and then the class before that is pre-1989. But really, this is like a 1990, I think it's written on it. This is 1990, so it really is only, it's only just at the very early stages of that pre-96 class. It's the, you know, it's only just clicked over. It's really unfortunate you can't run it in the pre-1989 because of course it's 1990, but at the same time it's only just you know, able to run it and sort of mix it up with those other cars. And there's some great cars in the pre-96 field, really nice modern type of cars. Anyway, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this. I do not know. I have a feeling we won't, but I'm going to hold it up to the camera anyway. You will see that there is these gears on the spur, on the part that intersects with the counter gears, are worn to the point of actually cracking and it's actually breaking the gears, and you will be able to see that, the ones with the 2 cracks, and also down the bottom. I'm going to hold it up now, see if you can see. So you can see there, they're bent over. I'll get a couple of stills, throw them in if it's not clear. But they're bent over, and they're actually, some of them are cracked at the base. I reckon I could actually, look at this here, look. I'm peeling, look at that there. It was cracked so badly at the edges that I could actually peel off a tooth. Here, look. It's cracked. I'm peeling off it, it's broken. Look at that. You can see that now. I've actually just pushed them over. They're broken off. The gears have broken off this gear set. Now this is a 66, yes it is a 66 Tamiya genuine high-speed gear set. So that's the gear set that comes with these here. Here it is here. So it's 47393, and that is the TA02 high-speed gear set. And it says explicitly in there, don't use it in dirt. Don't use it on dirt running, that's what it says. And say, only employ this diff with LSD, so limited slip diffs, ball differentials, of course, called in the RC world. Only use it with the ball diff. These have got gear diffs, so no slip. And don't use it off-road. I'm using it off-road too. So I'm doing 2 things that are not in accordance with the Tamiya manual, and I don't know if they thought that was going to happen, but certainly it's putting a lot more strain on the gear set, and that gear set is toast. So that manifested, for the record, that manifested as like a clicking. Anybody knows when the gearbox cover starts to pop off, if it starts to come loose and pop off, the idler gears start to skip against the spur. Those 2 intersecting gears there start to slip under load, and you get a sort of noise happen under acceleration, heavy acceleration. It's a skipping noise, little knocking. That's what was happening, and that's why that spur is toast. So I need to open another packet and put another one in. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go ahead and replace the counter gears as well. So I'm going to replace those counter gears, and I'll probably replace I'll replace that diff as well, because whatever. I do notice that this aluminium gear, these aluminium gears do wear quite badly, and it, you know, it spills the sort of aluminium greasy muck right through the gearbox into the diff, and so I'll go ahead and replace that diff. I'll use that diff as a spare, but I will build myself another what they call a G series, I think they're called TAO2 G series differential. So stock diff, Manta Ray diff, I'm going to go ahead and rebuild another one of those, put the new gear set in. I'm still going to go with the ultra small spur, being the what is it called? 66 tooth spur, because I like big speed and I don't care if I have to replace a motor every now and again. I don't care that it cooks the motor. To be quite honest, if it's not almost cooking the motor, you've got more in it. So we'll get onto it. Brilliant. Although, one thing I will do too is I took a tumble one time. Well, I'm thinking about it, I'll do this. I took a tumble one time and I believe that I've bent that axle. This was, drive shaft was bent, no, straightened it. Took quite a hit, like that, and bent it. So what I will do is I'll replace those two half shafts while I'm here. May as well, right? May as well. Yeah, I think it's this one that's, I think it's this one I bent. Whoops the daisies. Yeah, I've got another one somewhere. What do you know? Yep, brand new. There we go. Don't need that anymore. Oh, here's another one, brand new. There it is, brand new. Both replaced. Job done. Parts, 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 parts. Now these bent. Bent. Some new ones of those. What did I replace it already? Replaced it, that's right. And it was still wobbling, so I thought, well, that's the outdrive shaft bent, half shaft. The other thing I did do, which is not Tamiya stock, is I've used, I think these are Traxxas aluminium wheel nuts, but the difference is, it's not just their Traxxas, the point is they're super lightweight and they have a friction anti-undo machining pattern. You see that? Into the face, so they do not undo. One thing that is common, more common than it should be, is you can get through a bunch of races and everything's going good, and then you'll just have a wheel come loose and fall off. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people, including myself. And sometimes you just don't remember to tension up the wheels every time you do a race. And to be honest, you shouldn't have to. But the point is, these ones here, they never undo. They're quite, they make some quite serious marks on the face of the wheel that they do up against the hub, not the hub, the face of the wheel. And you can see sort of chattering marks they make in it as I'm doing them up. I don't know if you can see that. point is they grip really well and they do not undo. And I'll tell you what you don't want when you go racing, and it all comes down to that 5 minutes. You do not want the wheel falling off. That's just the end of your race. And it's something that's pathetic if it happens. It's just like, oh really? This sucks. Nothing you can do, you've lost out, and especially if you've done a bit of travelling for the event. It's poos, isn't it? Wheel falls off, you're out. You're out of the mix, or for something lame. Plenty of unforeseeable stuff happens during racing. The foreseeable stuff, you want to try and make some moves to avoid that. Still got the little transponder in there. Classic. Okay, now let's give this a whirl. Boop, boop. Ooh. Oh. Quite funny, the poor little spring steel drive shaft is actually, it's about the limit of what it can handle, like speed wise. It's starting to sort of cavitate. Starting to cavitate and hit the little stay. I wonder if I could. No, I don't think I can do anything about that. I think it just is what it is, right? That little rattling noise is it's the wire thing hitting the stay, which is a stay is just a little piece of plastic molded into an upright, which sort of keeps the drive shaft in line-ish. I'll see if I can make it do it. So you can see that. Can you see that? It's going in an oval shape. Bit of humour, but it's fine. That gearbox is fixed. No more making noises. It's going good. Okay, so take the battery out. And that is ready to race. I was very lucky on that last race I was doing. I was in first place, and I was managing to keep some good laps in, but I could hear the chirping of that idler gear as I was going past the driver's stand under acceleration, ready for a double, and I thought, wow, this really isn't going to last. And I was doing that sort of cringe face while it was happening, but it held together and didn't manage to lose an entire tooth before I won the race. So, remembering that I've actually got to, that's right, I still have to fix that shock. It's come asunder. Need to undo the shock. What would happen with this shock like this is you would notice, oh, the thing's not running, it's not running right. You'd see it sort of handling funny, probably from a transition on the corners. You'd think, oh, something's happening with this. But it would simply be that one of the shocks has lost some of its fluid, and so it'll be rebounding at a faster rate than the other one, and so you'll get this sort of awkward hopping, and it'll just be sort of manifest and hard to handle. If you ever have a problem, something unusual, because man, this is hard to handle today, give your kit the once over, because usually there'll be a reason for it. I mean, maybe it is that you suck that day, and that does happen, but more often than not, if you're driving in an analytical sort of a fashion, you can go, hang on, no, this isn't handling from left to right, or it's squatting too much in the back, or it's not gripping. And sort of say this one here, for example, when I was turning right, I would notice that the back would skip out. And the reason for that is because it lost all its dampening, because it's run out of fluid, and that shock at the back. So There's always a reason for things genuinely. There's a reason. So that one is sweet. What I'm going to do though, this shock here is sweet on the right hand side. I can feel it's sweet. But well, I've taken it off at the same time. Reason being is because when you build shocks, more important than how they function just independently, you need to ensure, you need to get them side by side, and you need to make sure that they is the same, they feel the same from left to right. These are shocks. Has one got, you know, more friction? Has one rebounding faster? Well, you can't have that. If they're different, that'll manifest in awkward handling from left to right. When you transition, you think, oh, it's much improved. And it really has to be quite correct. In order for you to have a smooth race and you to get high consistencies, the buggy's got to be handling correctly and predictably. And you can't do that if you've got shocks performing at different rates. I mean, it'd be unheard of in a real car. Like in a rally car, if I just threw the shocks together and tipped some oil into the shock and went, yeah, sweet as, you know, they've all got to be measured. All the rates have to be correct. The valving has to be very precise, and you go ahead and set that up. But with a RC buggy, you know, 9 out of 10 times, if it's not the same, you can feel it. You just go shoop, shoop, shoop. Feel the other one, shoop, shoop, and it's like doesn't rebound, or it rebounds too fast, or it's too springy, or it feels just stiffer generally. You've got to fix it. You've got to make them the same, otherwise you're up the creek. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So we get all the oil off the shock body, because the other trouble with that is it becomes a dust magnet, and nothing but problems. What was I saying? Right, after the racing, with the season, here we are. I've done some repairs, and the Manta Ray is now back together. Another little hint too, always put the body pins in from back to front. So slipping from back to front, because if you don't, and you hit something like that, somebody crashes in front of you, even if you're not a bad crash, you just punt somebody or punt a corner or something. If you put them in this way, they can go pop out, and then when you go down straight, the front will go whoo, and you get lift off. So to stop that happening, you always insert your body pins from front to back. And on that note, there she blows. Isn't that ready for some more action? I need to lift that back suspension up a little bit to where it was. A little bit of pre-tension on those. Perfect. Yep, that's better. What a gem. Okay, back in the game. Do hang it up.